and we are recording.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we're here.
Yep.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good, pretty good. To be honest, so far the show has been, it's been very chill. It's been busy for me, but in the same way that I think I was saying this to you, Raz, that if I get like 4 commissions, my show is immediately busy. You know, even if I don't talk to anybody else, it's a busy show. So it's been really, really good so far. But you can breathe. Yes. I've been to some pretty big shows where it's too crazy.
Yeah.
How much time do you spend on a commission if you get one during the day?
Well, the ideal situation is to not find yourself in the hotel after the show, like just trying to draw it, because you want to be in the bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I try to keep it for maybe like 1.5, maybe 1.5 hours. Try to keep it to around that.
But you do spend quite some time on it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if somebody wants to... Look, I started as a fan before I became a comic artist, you know? So I know what it's like to get a commission, and you don't want something that somebody's just done really fast, you know? Because you want something you want to take home. So I would prefer to be making sure that anything that I put my name on the bottom of goes out in a like good quality. You know?
Yes.
Also, if I can do that for some of the morning, then I don't have to take more, and you can have just an easy day of just maybe 2 or 3 commissions, and
Yeah, absolutely.
manage the workload.
Yeah, I understand. Because there is quite the risk that you get a lot to do. And also you are very... how do you say? You're a very sociable person.
Yeah.
I noticed when I tried to talk to you that you were faster with the questions than I was. So it was
Welcome to my show.
I didn't get the time to actually ask you anything, because you asked me, do you want that signed? Oh, do you want that signed too?
Yeah.
Yes, I can do that.
Well, so some of that comes from... I used to work in advertising.
Yes.
And the way advertising is broken down professionally is we talk about to the clients about above the line and below the line advertising. And those terms come from back in the Madison, the advertising, you know, like the Mad Men era.
Oh, yeah.
And the idea was from the budget books at the end for the clients was, if you invested a lot of money in above the line advertising, that's your TV and your billboards and things. Those are the messages that will reach as many people for the most amount of money you invest. And then below the line is like, you know, when you go to a supermarket and somebody says, oh, do you want to try this piece of sausage or something?
Yeah.
Somebody will taste that, and then they'll buy that pack of sausages, and they will buy those sausages for the rest of their lives. It's a lot of investment, but you're turning people one by one.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of that long story to explain that when somebody comes to my table at the show, I'm in charge of making sure that the experience they have talking to me is a good one. You know, you have to have energy for managing the experience that someone's going to have if they're talking to you. It has to be a nice interaction. And I'm really conscious of that, because those people will come to the next show. They will always buy your comics afterwards, because they care about you, because there's a person behind the work.
They remember the person and how pleasant the interaction was.
Yeah, so if you think about doing a comic like above the line advertising, it's like a TV ad or a billboard, but coming to a show is like below the line, where you meet people one by one, but if you have a nice interaction, they can be a follower of your work forever. Yeah, so
that's wonderful. Sorry, we are starting at the wrong end. I want to start with one thing.
Yeah, sure.
Kian Tormey.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, very important. Because I messed it up in the beginning.
No, don't worry.
And many people do. So I've been told by you.
Yes. Yeah, so Kian, it's an Irish name. And in Irish, in our language, the C is a hard C.
Yeah.
So
always, right?
Always. Yeah, well, so no, probably not. It's going to be some strange linguistic rule, like followed by a certain vowel. It's a hard C or something. I'm not sure. But I think so. Okay. But it's like Cillian Murphy, you know, the actor. It's the same. It's a hard C. And most people think it could be Cian or Sean, or I hear a lot of different versions. So it's a curse, but it's definitely with a C.
I understand. Were you born in Ireland?
Yes, yeah.
And you lived there for how long?
My whole life. I live in Spain now. I lived in Spain. I moved there when I finished college. When I was 23, I lived there for a few years. I've always loved it there. So when I moved home, I started that advertising career, and then for the last few years of that advertising career, I was trying to push into comics, and so I was doing both at the same time for a long time, and then I finally left. And as soon as I was working in comics, I could work from anywhere. So I moved straight back to Spain.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So what did push you from advertisement to comic books? What was it that was the breaking point that made you actually be able to commit to comics?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question, because people ask me, you know, is it nice to do... Sorry, you've heard the question like, do you really want to do what you love as a job, right?
Yeah.
And I remember somebody asking me this when I was leaving advertising, and I remember thinking, you know, there's implied in that question is like you're supposed to hate your job.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, but you're not. Like, so, you know, I think the way I would describe my job is more like a vocation, right? It's something that I think my life was probably moving towards this point the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
It just took a few, like everything in life,
like
it just took a few turns first. Yeah, exactly. So the way I would probably consider it is that a few different things had to happen, but I knew that I had to try, and I tried a few times. The way I finally got into comics took a few very strange turns, bumping into, for example, this is just the way life works. My mother used to go to Florida. They had a house in Florida. Yeah. She used to go there all the time, play a lot of golf. And this was around when I was finishing college, and I did a graphic novel for my degree show.
Okay.
And my mother was playing golf, and she said, "Oh, my son has created a graphic novel." And the man she was playing golf with said, "Oh, that's very interesting. I'd like to see it." And she said, "Oh, really?" He said, "Yeah, I used to be the ex-president of Marvel Comics."
Oh, okay.
And I was like, "What?" So that was how the first time I went to Florida, I met this man. His name was Jim Galton. Mm. And he said, "So what would you like to be?" Because I had written this thing and drawn this thing, and again, classic Cian trying to be very clever at the time. I said, "Oh, maybe I'd be an editor or a writer." And he said, and I understand this now, he said, "Listen, when you make up your mind, let me know, and we'll see what can happen." And it just, I think I was too young for the responsibility. I spent a long time trying to like find a clever way to do the work. And in the end, I just felt I left it too long.
Yeah.
And I never contacted him again. And now he's passed away. This was a few years ago because he was an elderly guy. And so the first time I tried to get into comics, I ruined it. And suddenly this golden opportunity was gone. And
it's a scary feeling.
Yeah, it really is. And I just thought, okay, I've nothing. It's one of the reasons why I moved back to Ireland and started a different career. And then we didn't have so many comic conventions in Ireland. And the copywriter, Enda McNally, the guy that I was working with, we were a creative partnership for several years. He said, "Oh, look, we have a comic convention in Dublin, and there's going to be a guy from Marvel Comics." It was C.B. Cebulski, you know, the editor-in-chief, I think he is. Yeah. And I said, "Okay, look, Cian, here's opportunity number 2, right? Like, you have to do this.
Don't screw it up.
No, don't. Yeah, like, you know that, and that voice is in your head the whole time." And I said, "Okay, I have like 2 weeks," and I did as many like pages of like test pages to show I could draw comics, and I went and I met him, and it went really well, and he gave me his business card, and he said, "Send me an email, and I will send you some script pages in a week." And so I did that. I got some test script pages to try, and I remember thinking, you know, just the folly of youth. I remember thinking, like, do I really want to leave advertising?
Yeah.
Like, you know, as if I was going to have this great opportunity to make the decision. That's not how life works. No. And guys, I had to draw, I think, 5 pages, and I took about maybe 2 months to do it. And really just, like, they wanted you to turn it around.
Do it now.
Yeah, and I mean, so I just blew opportunity number 2. He never even responded. And so, again, like I said, when you ask, like, how did you find yourself in comics? I was in advertising, and I was having all of these opportunities, and I was ruining all these opportunities, and I just thought, Cian, okay, look, either just forget this, or you're just going to have to do this on your own and stop hoping that lightning's going to strike you a third time. It just isn't going to happen. So that was it. I started to just kind of produce my own kind of comics and publish them, and working in advertising was helpful for thinking a lot about managing my social media posts. And I mean, you guys know this. You must be doing all the same thing. It's an always
we try.
Yeah,
we try our best.
Yeah, and the landscape for you guys is much harder now than it was like 9-10 years ago, because that was when you could just put stuff out and everybody could see it, and now everything's different, right?
Yeah.
So that was basically, I just thought, I'm going to do this in my own time, and maybe it will work and maybe it won't. And I think that actually took some pressure off. It put other pressure on. But suddenly it was just, you're doing it for yourself. And over time, then people started to notice me, and then I got some crazy opportunities, and I was trying to make opportunities and then use them as branding exercises. I know it probably sounds a little bit boring now, but that's the way it went.
Yeah,
there's a difference in that too, because the first 2 opportunities were sort of you are relying on someone else to help you or to lift you in, get you inside.
Yes.
in the last situation there, you are taking agency. You are the one in charge. I'm going to do this
my way.
Yeah, exactly. And if something shows up, then I will maybe latch onto that and make something of it.
Yeah, agency is a great word. Like, you become an architect of your own direction.
Yeah,
you know, instead of always just trying to react to something. 100%. Yeah, 100%. It's a lot more freeing.
Yeah. What was some of that early work that you did and published yourself?
So one of the most consequential things was there was my favorite artist, Stuart Immonen. He had done a book with Mark Miller called Empress. And I remember I was really hungover one St. Patrick's Day. And I know I know I'm Irish. This is not a lie. This actually happened.
This is very stereotypical.
Yeah, I know. But what wasn't stereotypical was it was snowing, right? And I had stayed in a friend's. We had gone out drinking, of course, you know, too much. And I was hungover, and I was at the train station about an hour away from where I live. My family was having a dinner, and I'm trapped in the train station, and it's covered in snow, and it was freezing. And I just was thinking, like, what am I doing? Like, you want to work in comics, you've got to do it yourself. And so I started thinking of a story, and I based it in this world that they had created. And when I got it drawn and everything, because I wanted to test whether I could write or not, because I was an art director in my previous career, but writing is a passion. And obviously comics is storytelling, whether you're drawing it or not. These are the same structural choices in the stories that you tell. And I drew this, and that made its way to Mark Miller, and he loved it, and he shared it with Stuart Immonen and stuff like that. And all of these small moments all add up together to... They start to share it, and then everyone starts to see you, and then you have the first time an editor for Marvel or DC follows you on Twitter, and then you're like, oh shit, they're looking, they're watching, they're watching. So, sorry, can I curse on this?
Yeah,
sure.
You can curse as much as you want.
I was like, okay.
We've said many stupid things.
Yeah. Okay.
We checked that box when we
every
made
time.
the podcast.
Explicit content. Yeah. Okay.
We have that box in every time.
Yeah.
We doesn't even before we do the podcast, we just check that.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was saying that's just a permanently checked box.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are never going to get advertisement on this. I suppose we're never going to get advertisement on this. It would be very selective advertisement.
Okay, yes. Yeah. No, I know as well, and I won't mention it again, but Irish people curse a lot. It's just the way we communicate sometimes. So I don't hear it sometimes. So
that's the way we communicate as well. So
okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is a nice cultural exchange.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so so it was a few things like that, and I was very much like strategic content release as opposed to just drawing things and just hoping for the best. If a movie came out, I made sure that I drew something related to the movie so that it was always writing the hashtags and part of the conversation, so you're getting hits and people start to follow you. And then I think that there's definitely, you guys would know this as well, there's definitely like a critical mass that you hit where suddenly anybody that sees you just follows you because you seem like somebody that they should follow.
Yeah.
And then there is definitely a moment where your followers just explode.
Yeah.
And then there's so many. And then you just look important, which I don't know, you're not, but then what makes you important? So
absolutely.
That's actually funny because our podcast from the beginning was me, Rasmus and Marcus. We're the three guys sitting around the table. For us it was a couple of hours of children's and stuff like that, and just talking about stuff that we like.
Yeah.
This is 2 years ago. We sat around the white table with a flower on it in my barn. Now we are the official Comic-Con podcast, so it's like...
Yes, you've gone straight up. But you told me, how many hundreds of episodes?
115 is coming out on Monday.
That's so much work, guys. Like, that's a lot of work.
There's a bunch of hours into this at this point. And there's going to be a lot more.
Yes.
That is the ultimate promise.
After this weekend...
there's a lot of work.
We had, I think, Melina, our socials, she handles all the media before it gets to me and my computer. I think when she started loading it over last night in the hotel room, she was like, dude, it's around 180 videos on my phone.
Oh my god.
We had 4 phones.
Oh my god.
There's a lot.
So it's phone there, phone in my pocket, phone in your pocket, and we do the rounds, and of course we talk to you guys, but then we talk to cosplayers and
so it's
all the kids.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
We won't like we only do this. We are like we do everything. That's more fun.
Yes, of course. Because I mean, my table is literally facing you guys, and I'm just watching you all day, just talking and talking, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it. Like I get to stop sometimes. Yeah. And also, I have the opportunity if I'm drawing to just look down and pretend I don't see anybody. Yeah. So
no, exactly. You're busy in your work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I can pretend if I, when your social battery runs low, you can just pretend you don't see anybody, but you guys have to keep going all day.
Yeah, in character all the time.
Yeah.
Very serious about what we do.
We actually we should mention that because we have those. Here, Marcus is our creative guy. He has done this. Are like
cool.
Like
these
mashups
are great.
Of like different.
Elton is amazing. Hold on, these are great.
Yeah. And he does all the media for us when it comes to we have
all the art
like this of us or this.
Oh, this
one.
is great. These are great.
So he also has a sort of he has a dream of becoming a comic book artist. He's talking about drawing covers and everything.
Yeah,
he's actually got a cover coming out for the new Transformers comic book.
Yeah,
the Swedish translation has 3 variant covers. So there's the regular one, there's a B one, and there's a C one.
Yeah.
So number 2 coming out first quarter of next year. Yeah. He's got the C cover.
That's amazing.
So that is sort of the start. We're hoping that he could someday get to do this.
He'll be the same as me. I have done 1 cover for Transformers. Yeah. So the 2 of us now will be the same. Yeah. We will have achieved the same professional goal of 1 Transformers cover. So yeah.
I gotta find this cover.
Yeah, it's from Grimlock. I did a cover. Steve Orlando did a mini series of Grimlock, and we had just finished Darkhold for Marvel.
Oh yeah.
And I have to say, I have a lot of respect for the Transformers artists because so there's definitely, I think there are some artists that are really amazing at drawing so much angular machinery. It is not for me, and I really enjoyed doing the cover, but I don't know how you could do a Transformers comic. It's just I have a different sensibility artistically that I'm much better with the human figures than any of those guys.
Yeah, no, Marcus said it when he got asked the first time, and the first picture he did. He was like, "Yeah, sure, I can try something. This shouldn't be too hard."
Yeah.
Man, he regretted that entirely. And the thing he ended on was, okay, let's do G.I. Joe and Starscream as a plane.
Yeah,
that'll be the Transformers cover. That is gonna have to do.
Good. So that's some creative problem solving.
Yeah, absolutely. And that works when you do covers, but when you do comics. As you say, the comics, that is going to be hard.
Yeah. It's tough stuff. Just all of those angles, and you have to be so precise because they're like if you do anything with Star Wars. Yeah, those guys check everything, and I did the cover. It was for Grimlock. They sent me character sheets. Some of them are really, really complex, and they want you to make everything right because if you get something wrong, it's the kind of fandom that they see it straight away. Like I can be a little bit loose sometimes with. Maybe like I'm drawing a lot of Batwoman in the series I'm doing at the moment, and her suit's amazing, right? But you kind of don't have to be too careful about where you're putting the lines and the shading and stuff like that. It looks like Batwoman. That's the iconic shape, so they give you a little like wiggle room. Yeah. But man, if you get like the wrong face shield on Grimlock or Optimus Prime or something, fans they get angry. So you've got to get that right, and that to me is too much pressure. Yeah. Star Wars is the same. Like. Unless you really have a love of that stuff and you want to get it right, it's the kind of thing that can drive you crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. As you say, those fans are ravenous as well. Yeah. They devour everything that comes in their path.
100%.
And love it, absolutely. But it must be hard to please if you're just a little bit off.
Yeah, it can be. And I one of the saddest things was... I had drawn it from one of the references, and I had gotten, I think, one of the details on the face wrong, and I had to draw a different face for it, and it always felt to me like the one I had to do wasn't as cool as the one I did first, and so that's
that was a cooler Grimlock.
Yeah, I thought so, but that's a secret pain I have to live with. So
I understand. Yeah. I also want to dive into Son of Superman.
Yeah,
because that is one of the recent things that you've gotten really big with.
Yeah,
and there was some news about it. There was some. I don't want to call it controversy because I don't like that word and the connotations with it. But Son of Superman, John Kent, comes out as bisexual, and you drew the comics. You drew the reveal page, right?
Yes, yeah. So on their kiss, that was John Timms. He did the first kiss.
Oh, okay, yes.
And it was the next issue that I took over from him. And so I got to onboard with all of the controversy while not actually having caused it. But I had worked with Tom Taylor before, and we had done some things that had caused controversy when we did Injustice and stuff before. So it wasn't new to suddenly find yourself at the center of like a huge explosion.
But was there a lot of controversy surrounding this? Was there a lot of hate? And
yeah, there was. I mean, a guy tried to start a fight yesterday. The first time, he came over. It was quite funny. He came over, and so I have prints on the table.
Yeah.
And one of them is John and Jay, the boyfriend. They're kissing from the end of the first arc that we finished. And then the other image I have is from the second arc that we were doing, where Superman returns. John hears a heartbeat after a fight, and he's like, I recognize that heartbeat. And Superman had been off-world for a long time, and so he shoots up into the sky, and they clash in the sky. It's the return of Clark, and they embrace, and that's the image that I have.
That is a beautiful one.
I love this. So I definitely got some crazy stories about that too. But yesterday, this guy came up, and he went... He kind of just did this kind of a wavy finger motion, and he went, so what is this, the gay Superman show? And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And he went, what is this, gay Superman? And I said, that's his son.
Yes.
And the guy was like, yeah, it's gay. And I went, you think hugging your son is gay? And like, that's pretty strong. And his kid was with him, and the poor kid was like, please, Dad, please, like, just like I felt so sorry for the kid, because like obviously that's a dad who likes to pick fights. And so that has never happened, and the whole confrontation was very strange, because I was like, dude, you're wrong. Now I know I'm working, so I don't want to cause any problems, but I'll fight on that, because you've come over to just, you're filled with hate, and you can't walk past an image without you having to insult the person who made it. So
you have a choice in that situation. Do you react to that, or do you leave it be? And even if you don't agree, you can just leave it be. But this person did not choose to leave it be.
He woke up and chose violence.
Maybe we should teach him the Swedish word for that kind of a guy.
You mean asshat?
Yeah.
What is it?
Rövhatt.
Rövhatt.
Yeah, it's asshat.
Oh, asshat.
We like that one.
Rövhatt.
We've been using it a lot.
Rövhatt.
A lot recently. It's been used very much.
Well, like you don't get that at comic shows. I mean, the people who come here tend to be
very open.
Different, very open, different persuasion. One of the best things about these comic conventions is that it is a safe environment for all diversity.
Yes.
Like, and you know, when you see it, I don't know if you guys have been to the New York Comic Con yet. You really should go. Yeah. But that is freak central. Yeah. And everybody's comfortable. It is full of the weirdest, most amazing people. And you can walk around there and you realize how important this environment is for so many people.
Of course.
What are you doing here if you think Superman hugging his son is some kind of gay agenda?
Absolutely the worst.
So yes, the answer broadly is you do get a lot of that. But the reason why it was mostly problematic in America at the time was because, you know, the conservative side of politics in America in particular, they tend to simplify things to fit an agenda.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so what they were saying was, okay, so they've made Superman gay. Yeah. It was like, because it was much easier for them to say the quintessential American icon has been perverted by the liberals, you know, and none of this is even remotely true. No. Superman is not gay. His son is bisexual, as you said, but that's because we're talking to a new audience of readers. Yeah. So many people that are the age group of the readership of that comic, they're coming to terms with themselves and their identities. And the comics that we read, guys, were instrumental in the kind of people that we would become. Yeah. That's still happening today. We have our Superman. Let people have a new Superman.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and for everyone, there should be something for everyone.
Yeah.
But this isn't the first controversy that has been connected to homosexuality or, well, the LGBT as a whole. There is also the Tim Drake, which became a scandal when they said that Robin is gay, and they published pictures of Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
And the fans were mad.
Oh, yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Because the
fans were mad.
They didn't understand it.
That'll be written on my headstone. The fans were mad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The first one for me, the first one that I encountered was Iceman.
Yes. Yeah.
Also a huge favorite for me, and that issue was something I had to find for myself. Where he comes, well, he doesn't come out. Jean Grey comes out for him.
Yes, yeah.
And I love that comic, and I love that sort of story. I don't remember if there was a lot of controversy surrounding that one.
The problem is, and the thing is, like, it's important to also understand where the controversy comes from, because sometimes you can understand it. Like, if somebody takes a character that you've always known and makes a fundamental alteration to the character, I can understand if people reject it, right? Because we are resistant to change. Yeah. And if you see it happen in several places, suddenly it feels like humans are prone to get like 2 data points and create an entire system of thinking. And so if one character is gay and another character is gay, oh my God, all the characters are gay now. And it obviously
the world is collapsing.
100%. And like none of this is happening. No. But I think it was more about, and also, but it's also very common to have coded complaints where, for example, with Son of Superman, all of the people who had a problem that the character was gay would say instead, like, we have a problem with the fact that you made the characters older because he was the same age as Damian Wayne.
Yeah, exactly.
And then something happened and he was aged by like 4 years or 5 years, so he's 18 now. And all the people who would say, it's not because he's gay, but I'm not reading this because of what you did to the character. So
when you aged him up,
people can create shields for the problems that they have.
Exactly. I'm not homophobic,
but
I'm age-phobic.
Yeah, I'm age-phobic. Yeah, exactly. So
I wanted to ask you, because of all the controversy around that, people if they want to complain, isn't Lois Lane the one they should be complaining about, who's sleeping with an alien?
Yeah. Oh, listen. I mean, like, there's so much stuff. Like, when you break it down, even like just the way you do that, like, so much of this is problematic.
Yeah.
And being gay is not
exactly
like, by comparison. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
No, because it's. I think it's everything to comics to movies when it's fake. From the we have this is something we invented. We needed this.
Yeah.
And I can understand. Of course, people will be mad if you change stuff, but it's not real.
Yeah,
it's real for every person who's reading it, of course. But you can choose not to read that. If you have a problem with homosexuality or whatever it is, you can stop reading it. Go Tintin or Batman or something else.
Yeah. Just like you're allowed to have thoughts and just keep them in your head.
Yeah,
like, and
exactly.
you don't have to say it. And I think that's the funny thing about what happened with this guy yesterday. When they say, "Oh, I don't have a problem with that," it's like lots of people, if they do, they just continue on to something else.
Yeah.
But not again, one of the major lessons you learn when you are approaching your late 20s and your 30s, hopefully, is that not everything is made for you.
No, exactly.
Like, you don't need this one. You got Superman.
Yeah.
You still have him. Like,
why are you so offended?
What are you angry at?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It's so that stuff is when, and those are the people that always say, well, I don't have a problem with this. It's like, I think you do. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so talking about that, moving on, I also want to focus on a bit of what you are doing right now. What is the future for you, and currently, where are we at?
So, after I finished Son of Superman, I did another story that was called Alan Scott, the Green Lantern. We went back. We told a story of, again, wait until you see. There's a theme in my career so far, and I don't know why, but we went back to the 1930s to tell the story of a gay character. Alan Scott is a gay Green Lantern.
Yeah. Yes.
And the thing that was so cool when they pitched the series to me was, normally you have a secret identity, and that's the thing that you're trying to protect. But when the Green Lantern takes off his costume, he's Alan Scott, and he had to live a secret identity because he could be arrested for being gay in America at that time. So he was actually a criminal when he was in his human form.
Yeah.
And then he was just a hero when he was in the... And I was like, oh man, the conflict at the center of that premise is so good. So I did that. That was mildly controversial as well. There's a lot of online hates for that kind of stuff. And then I finished that, and now I have the first issue of my new series is coming out at the end of November, and it's about the Question. So there has been an event that is, I don't know if you guys know, has reset so many things in the DC universe, and now there is a new version of the Watchtower that's floating around the Earth, and they want to treat it like a kind of like a city where a lot of the superheroes can come, because they realize that the cause of the last event where everybody lost their powers was because none of the heroes were talking to each other, and there was a threat that they all could have fought if they'd known what was happening.
Oh, yeah.
So they wanted a central location for these guys to be safe. And then somebody asked the question, well, like, who's going to police this area? Because something will go wrong.
Yeah.
And somebody said, okay, we'll take Renee Montoya from Gotham, and she's the Question, and we're going to make her the sheriff of the Watchtower.
Oh.
So now this is our new series. It starts at the end of November, and it's called The Question All Along the Watchtower. That's what I'm working on now.
Cool.
And I am having a lot of fun. I've gone from drawing 1930s New York to drawing a space station. It's a sci-fi story.
There is quite a
jump.
there.
Yeah, when they said it to me, I was like, guys, I don't know. I've never done that. And science fiction's not really my thing. Like, maybe I'm not the right choice for this. Because they were talking about Star Trek and all of this, and I'm like, that's not really me. And then somebody said, well, what about like Ghost in the Shell and Akira? And I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't really consider any of that, but if I'm allowed to go in as something that's less of an American sci-fi and more of a Japanese sci-fi, I don't know if I've ultimately done that. But it took away some of the pressure, and I said, you know...
That is sort of the inspiration for it then.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it was more like, you'll see like Tachikoma pieces in like some of the things that get destroyed in the backgrounds and stuff, but really for me, I thought, I don't know if I can go from old traditional stuff to super new stuff. And if I can, then maybe I have more of a broader skill set than I thought. So that was one of the reasons why. And so far, the reception for the previews going out has been really, really good. So
great,
that's one of your superpowers. You can create stuff.
Yes, exactly.
He's
Controversy.
The creator.
Yes. Who knew I would look like this? But yes, no, creating controversy is definitely something that has followed me around.
That is a superpower.
Yeah.
But
so how do you find Sweden? Just to ask, the Comic-Con is one thing. When did you arrive to Sweden?
So we got in on Thursday.
Yeah.
We arrived in at like 3:30. Got into a car, and the 40-minute drive to the convention took about an hour and a half because we went straight into the traffic.
Oh yeah,
the same as us.
You too. Yeah, did as well.
Yeah. So there's a. Okay, so the only free time we had was yesterday, so we went into the old town because I did the poster for the convention, and I based it on the Riddersholmen Spire.
Yeah.
So I have a drawing of. Actually, it should be on the the tags.
Yeah, we have it.
Yeah. So it's Batman and Robin on the Spire. So I went out just to see it, just to make sure, and I think I actually got the size more or less correct.
Yeah.
You know, so I was quite happy. So that was my chance to see. As much of the town as I'm really going to see. The only other things we get to do now is like we go out for dinner, we go into the city each night, and then I fly home.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. But one of the things that strikes me is every time you try to take a photograph of a historic building, there's a highway in front of it.
Yeah.
There's a highway in front of everything.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that struck me.
Yes, absolutely.
But the buildings, and not just the buildings, but the black rooftops.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
You haven't? Okay.
That's really, really cool. So all these beautiful orange buildings, like pumpkin-colored buildings, but with these black tops. It's a very Halloween city. Like, I'm here at the right time.
Now that you mention it, yes.
So
never noticed that before.
So it's great, but also the people and the children here are so smart. One boy came up to me yesterday, and he asked me, like, can you draw Link? And I said, yeah, sure. And he said, with the sword in the air and with the castle in the background. And I said, okay, hold on, wait. Maybe the sword in the air I can do. And he said, okay. And then he said, I think I understand how you make the money at this show. And I was like, oh, okay. And he said, oh yeah, so you take the money from us, and then you give the money to the show, and then they give it back to you with a little bit extra. Is that it? And I was like, no, that's a bit complicated. No, I make my own money. I work here. And he said, oh, wow, do you have a boss? And I said, no, I work for myself. And he said, do you have a CEO? I was like, this kid was 8. I was like, no, I don't have a CEO either.
He's experimenting with words.
No, but also I was like, are you trying to be my CEO? Because this guy, like, he arrived with a business plan.
Yeah.
And then when his father came and paid, and he said, can I tell you a secret? I said, yeah, of course. He said, I would like to give you a tip, but I don't have any money. So maybe I can give you a tip in happiness? And I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take that. So now I have a happiness surplus.
Yeah,
so I'm already coming out at a profit. Some of the kids have just been so funny, man, and they're so smart. It's been a joy talking to everybody at the table so far.
Wonderful.
Everybody's extremely friendly and extremely polite. It's really, really great.
That is wonderful. That is. it's great that you feel welcome.
Oh,
I
would come back anytime. It's great so far.
Is it your first time in Sweden?
No, I believe it or not, when I told you when I moved back from Spain the first time, I was working as an intern in an advertising company for about a month, and there was a national competition run by the newspaper in Ireland. And I won the first stage, and the second stage was to compete against all of the young creative teams of Europe. And it was just south of Malmo. There's an art college down there.
Yeah.
So I flew in. I saw Stockholm for about 10 minutes, and then we were on a bus. We went straight down to this place. We were there for like 2 days, and then straight back. So I have been here, but in the weirdest like, yeah, the circumstances were most strange.
We should invite him to our midsummer's party.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
what does that involve?
Now we have the midsummer's like in the
like the movie?
Oh, no, not like the movie. Not like that movie.
Okay.
Don't think about it.
I was like, because I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll go.
No,
I haven't seen the movie, but I know about it.
Okay, so not quite so intense.
No, we are from a place inside of Sweden, like almost with the Norwegian border.
Okay,
and
cool.
It's more like we live in the woods like that.
Oh, cool.
When we celebrate, everyone is welcome. So I think last year the youngest was like 2. And the oldest was like 92.
Amazing.
And
so what do you do? What do you do? What is it? Is it like a music or
everything?
Is it like a pagan festival or something that?
No.
Or?
Well, you guys walk down to the Midsummer. What do you call it? I don't know what you call it. The Midsummer Cross.
Yes.
With things.
Maypole.
The Maypole. Thank you.
Oh yeah, to dance around and to get
Yes.
Yep.
Like frogs. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what we do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And we do that with the kids. We are where I live. It's like. It's a little bit of a community. It's like 200 people.
Yeah.
Meet. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
They have their picnic basket and they put up, and we go down to this place and we do this. This is like 50 meters from where I live, so it's just over the road.
Wow.
And when that's over around 3 o'clock, then we go up to my place and I have tents set up and we do live music, we barbecue a little bit, everybody's drinking a little bit. It's not too much because
there are kids.
And I'm hard on that rule because you shouldn't get drunk,
yes.
You should have fun.
Yes.
And we did.
I'm Irish. That's a new concept.
Maybe it's the wrong one.
Yeah.
What is the classic joke? It is an Irishman walks out of a bar.
Oh yeah,
that never happened.
Do you know what I was going to say? I've never heard that, and I was like, no, because I've never seen it happen either.
Sorry.
We have that kind of party, and it's been like a tradition for a couple of when we bought the house.
Yeah,
and it's like we have built a little community. It's like everybody around this table usually is on that party. And I'm a musician, so my band friends is there, and the neighbors are there, and they are like. Now it's we have a German family who's moved into a house, so we introduced them and just asked them, and they were, of course, we can bring the wine and the sausages.
Wow, cool! Yeah,
so everybody's invited.
Amazing.
So you are invited if you want to.
Do you know what? That sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will send you the invitation.
Yeah, do.
Yeah.
He's not embarrassed of anything.
No.
He is going to send you the invitation.
No, if I can, I will. Look, anything that gets, and you said it's during the summer, right?
Yeah. It's
anything that gets me out of Spain during the summer, because I live down in the south, and my God, it's just like working in a swamp. It's awful. So yes,
I understand absolutely.
Bring me up north.
Yeah, it's around 5th of June.
Yeah,
around there.
Oh, right in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
I will fix that, but because it's a good time, and the living arrangements is up to you. If you want to live, because we have like an open house, so you can live in our house, but then you will have to deal with my kids. But that's another thing.
Sounds amazing.
This is wonderful. This has been absolutely wonderful interview.
Okay. I can get back to my Viking roots as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
With those kind of games we have, you need to get back to the Viking roots. We had it's not important, but we had a table. I had a friend. We work in the school together, and we have a teacher colleague. He had a game where you print out names of just names that's in songs. Then you play the song, and it's like around 100 names on the table, and you are 2 people on every side, and you try to take the right name to that's in the song.
That sounds like pandemonium.
Yeah, and it gets competitive.
Yeah,
they broke the table in the end.
Absolutely.
Oh no!
But it's a fun game, and I think we The last one went to bed around 6 in the morning, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Wow.
And everybody's having fun, and I'm like a game show host and those kind of situations. So I love to.
It sounds amazing.
Midsummer is very important. So
yeah.
That is
okay.
Well, we will fix that.
And we'll record the follow-up conversation.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah.
We take that the next day when we're drunk and hungover.
Oh God.
Oh, maybe
God.
we are drunk and hungover. You're Irish, so you're fine.
I was like, what? You mean like right now? Like, yeah. Anyway.
No, sorry, that's just personal. Yeah,
sure.
Move along.
These jokes are absolutely wonderful, and thank you for being able to laugh at the jokes as well.
Yeah, of course.
So yes. I am not going to keep you for too long because you need to get back to your table, I suppose. Yeah. But I am very grateful that you have been able to sit down here. One last question for you that I have been thinking about. What is sort of a dream project for you? What would you want to work on if you got to choose?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I think there's two answers, right? And I'll keep them really simple. I think if it was up to me in terms of characters, because this happens a lot, the editors will say, like, when a project is finishing, like, is there anything you really want to work on or anything? I would love to draw more villains. Like, the villains are always so much more interesting, just their designs, but also the motivations. I don't know, I think I identify with the villains much more than the heroes, right?
Yeah.
So, as problematic as that might be. So I would say, like, I would love to do something. So I used to be working more in the Bat family, which is the way we call it in DC. So I'm exclusive with DC Comics, and I started working in the Bat family. And then when I moved over to Son of Superman, I found myself working in the Metropolis family, and I'm still there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind just even briefly going back into Gotham for a while and doing Clayface or Man-Bats or something like that. I would love to do something like that a lot. But I think if I was to speak more broadly, I think I'd like to write something soon. Yeah, because for me, like, screenwriting and all of that has been a big passion for many years. Structure was a big part of the advertising work that I did, and now that I'm doing all of the drawing and I'm receiving all of these scripts, I'm feeling that itch where I'd really like to write something. So I have to try and get one of these editors to take a risk.
But would you like, is it just for comic books, or would you like to write like a script for a movie, maybe around the Bat family? But
I would love to. I would love to just, I think for me, whatever the medium it is, I just want to flex those structure and storytelling, the narrative muscles.
Yeah.
So for me, one of the benefits of the job I have is it should be a relatively easy lateral move into writing for comics, but which we'll see. And then after that, oh my God, I'd love to see it. So I dare to dream, at least.
Yeah.
Either way, you are a great artist, and it's wonderful to see your work and to see where it's going to go next. I'm going to have to read up on that Alan Scott comic because I didn't know that.
I'm quite proud of it.
If I find it, I'm coming back to your table.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, look, a good way to see if it was a success was it made a lot of the right people very, very angry. So I think we did a good job.
When people are angry, yes.
Yeah. Then I actually have I have a last question. I nearly never get the last questions because I always just talk. But in the controversy, as you said, you have worked with some of the people or the characters who were made bisexual or gay.
Yes.
If you got to choose one character to turn to piss someone off, Batman. Yeah,
Batman,
good.
He's already dressed for it.
Yeah.
There's already been the controversy, right?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like, that would be like pushing on an open door.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. I think.
I would like to see that.
Sure. I don't see why
a
not.
romance with Riddler or Clayface or something.
This is taking a very wonderful turn. Yeah. Yes, we are converting the criminals one at a time.
Yeah.
Maybe you should be writing these books. We could be working together.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If you want, I shouldn't say stupid idea, but if you want strange ideas, I'm the right guy for it.
If you pitch them, I'll back you up.
Yeah, that sounds great.
There may be a commission coming.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
See
I don't normally say yes to that kind of commission, but I'll make an exception this time. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Thank you very much, Guillaume, for coming.
Thank you, guys.
And I'm very happy that you have had the time to do this.
It was a pleasure. And
I was thinking 10 minutes, but you were here for more, I think. I have no idea.
43.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry, guys. You're going to have to do a lot of editing.
That's my problem.
Editing.
No problem.
No editing.
Okay, well, thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great Comic-Con.
Thank you.
if you, I really meant that about Midsummer.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you want, we can exchange. Do you have Facebook or what?
Yes, and Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.